Good evening, everyone. The last student was released from the hospital today after a fatal school bus pickup crash that shook several of our rural communities. More than 24 members of the Hatton Northwood volleyball team went to the hospital after the crash. The crash also claimed the life of a pickup driver involved.
Not only has it shaken the communities of Hatton and Northwood, but the first responders who traveled a long way to help. WDAY News reporter Matt Henson joins us live tonight. He talked with some of the dozens of volunteer first responders who rushed to help and takes us inside a special ER room set up inside Altru to treat all those patients. Matt.
Danny and Kirsten, ambulances from 50 miles away in 2 different directions rushed to Highway 32 in Petersburg last Thursday. Initial reports indicated to dispatch there were 50 kids on board. It turned out to only be half of that. For many of the first responders, it will likely be the largest incident of their careers.
They're looking for as many ambulances as possible.
Sarah Vaith with Michigan Ambulance was the first ambulance dispatched to the crash.
Terrifying. It's not a call that we expect to receive.
Nelson County Sheriff Kurt Schwinn was just wrapping up his shift last Thursday.
It's one of those calls that you pray you never get, and then you pray that you can handle it once you get that call.
One person was dead, 27 people on a school bus, 25 of them students, hurt after the bus rolled multiple times and landed on its side in a slough.
I'd like to think that you can train for an event like this, but in all actuality, you can train, and the event is not quite what you trained for.
They're looking for as many ambulances as possible.
The sheriff immediately told dispatch to call every ambulance in the region. That fell on the shoulders of 2 women working inside the Lake Region 911 Center. They had to individually page a dozen different departments.
With this incident being as rural as it was, we needed as many people to come as we could get.
Sheriff Schwinn called the first few minutes chaotic, but was impressed how these rural agencies came together to self-initiate rescue efforts.
Once you got into it, you saw that all the first responders that were there were pulling on the rope, and they came together to accomplish a mission.
One by one, 15 different ambulances, some with multiple patients, rushed the students to Altru in Grand Forks.
There's a lot of moving parts operationally to make sure that we could accommodate patients with this particular incident.
For the first time since the deadly Larimore school bus crash back in 2015, Altru set up a remote care space. The ambulance garage was turned into an ER with 40 additional care spaces.
Activated our internal response to get chairs and recliners and beds down here. I'd say from start to finish probably took us about 20 minutes to get everything out here.
The time of the bus crash helped the hospital prepare for the response. It came during a shift change. That allowed nearly all of the emergency department's 89 employees to assist, either with the patients from the crash or patients already at the hospital.
We don't stop caring for those, we kind of divide and conquer.
As of today, all the students have been released from the hospital and are recovering, physically and mentally. First responders are undergoing debriefings to discuss what went well and if improvements are needed. Most importantly, the mental toll this may have taken on them.
It's not one that I hope I ever receive again.
As you can see in this picture, 3 life flight helicopters were brought in to Altru just in case. Altru had its decompression plan in place. That plan would have transferred current patients at the hospital to other facilities to make way for the patients coming from the crash if their injuries were more serious. Reporting live, Matt Henson, WDAY News.